Hello, it looks like someone's in here. Hey Cassie, how are you? You finally made it to one of my streams. Somebody else is here too. Show yourself. Hi Vika, hi. And Detne and Rochelle and Lauren and Alana. Leia. Yay, lots of people. Yay. We're starting to pile in now. Hey Caroline, I feel like it's been a minute. Hey Libby, Lydia, Lucy. Lots of L's. Hi AJ, Sarah, Marilyn, Sandra. It's Sunday, guys. Hi Dean. Thanks for popping in, no worries. Happy Sunday, everyone. Are there any mothers in the chat? If there are any mothers, happy Mother's Day. I know that the whole like pet parents thing comes up. Happy Pet Mom's Day too, but human mothers probably have more of a responsibility, so I like to give them a little more credit. Hi Alex, I'm doing just fine. I'm doing great. Happy Mother's Day, Sarah. And Jessica. And Miss Barr, whatever your first name is. Whew. Hi Courtney. I was almost late to this, you guys. I was running behind. I'm editing our first episode of the podcast. Hey Griff. Shelby. Editing the first episode of the podcast, which is almost, the first edit, rough edit, is almost done. Thank you, Leia. That's so sweet. Yay, cat moms. I don't know that we have a topic for this live stream. Here lately, when I do a public stream, the questions come and things just go crazy, and I just try to keep up. I did have a topic for the last one though, and that one went really well. Do I prefer Alicia or Leash? I mean, Alicia's my name, but obviously Leash is what people often call me on the internet because of my username. That is a nickname that some friends and family call me. How's my day been so far? Thank you for asking, Allison. It's been good. I kind of told you guys here and there that I recorded, my hair's doing something weird, recorded our first episode of the podcast with me and another friend. And so today, since I was able to put my Shall and Lester up video last night, today I was able to really focus on editing this podcast, which has been great. And I really am excited for how it's going to turn out. Oh, I'm sorry, Guns and Freckles, but thank you for popping in to say hi. Hello, generic 2858. Thank you, Alex, for the compliment on the Shall and Lester video. I actually thought it would get more views. I thought more people were interested in her than I think people actually care. I had a lot of people asking my opinions on her, and then realizing that I don't think that many people on the internet are talking about her as much as I thought. Hey, JJ. You love how personal I am, Lucy? Thank you. Yeah, the Shall and Lester video was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Libby. It was a lot of fun to kind of, honestly, when I was recording it, I was like, am I even saying anything worth putting out into the world? Thank you, Dorian. But once I was editing it, I had a lot of fun. And then some people in the comments, like, it turns out some people will defend her. Some people don't see the difference between what I do and what she does, or what certain drama channels do and what she does, which makes me sad. Some people don't see the difference. If you want to know what kind of music I like, just go look for Alicia, wait for it, Page on Spotify. Wait for it, one word as my middle name. And I create playlists every season. Lots of indie, R&B, alt rock, indie pop, indie R&B type of stuff. I'm not going to create one. I think I'm going to have a joint playlist between spring and summer this year for the first time ever because of quarantine. I'm not listening to my music quite as much. Lindsay, thank you. Yeah, so feel free to go there if you're interested in that sort of music. Yeah, Caroline, that's a big one for me. I think that has been a topic. Caroline pointed out that I said something. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Alicia or Alicia. Caroline brought up the point that I said something about really not paying much attention to internet trolls. And I think that has been a hot topic on my channel without me knowing exactly what to call it. And I realized, especially when it came to like, and let's not get into it too much, but just as an example, the Trisha Paytas stuff, or maybe even like my recent little scandal with the Rewired Soul. I think with a lot of these YouTubers that people don't like or something happens, I don't tend to get as angry by what YouTubers this way. Oh yeah, Lindsay. It's something you learn to work with. But I don't tend to get so angry and outraged about what other people do or say unless I value what that person has to say at all. So that's why you guys, it may be a little confusing to some people. It may be a little confusing to some people, but like that's why I have so much to say about Gabby Hanna because I like her. So when she acts like out of line, then I'm gonna say something. Or people that are just a little more prevalent on the YouTube platform that I don't have a strong opinion of one way or another. So like say James Charles, Jeffree Star, like these aren't people that I really have hard like strong feelings for. So but I see them around a lot, so if they do something I'm likely tool time I'm likely going to say something. I might have an opinion. But when just somebody like just comes out of the woodworks and they're just like I said, garbage, or somebody who's known to be a troll, or somebody who's known to just be offensive, like I just can't. I don't have there's a saying that I taught my brother, and it's funny because there's kind of a book about it, but I had to tell my brother, I was like, you only have a certain number of fucks to give. So, and it's fine if you want to give a fuck to this, and it's fine if you want to give 2 fucks to that, but you have to just determine where to allocate your fucks, if that makes sense. So I can't give my fucks to Trisha, I can't give my fucks to Shallon. I can tell you what I think after having to do the research. But, had I never watched Shallon's videos, I would have been totally fine. I don't think that the internet needs me to be angry on their behalf. But I will say, I will speak up and I will be concerned when I think that there's a child predator on the loose. And that is something I'm very concerned about. When your core values are attacked. Lindsay, that's correct. Maybe not the most. I'm trying to think of what offends me the most. I think what offends me the most is when the people closest to me do like assassinate my character or misunderstand me. Oh, Natalie, you can look at my last video about Gabby. It talks a lot about that. Yeah, so what you were saying, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the person who said it. But when the people closest to me misunderstand me is when I get my feelings hurt the most. So like it doesn't bother me so much like when a Gabby stan comes to my videos and is like pissed off or whatever, right? But it's when like I let down my own subscribers, or my own subscribers think that I'm going through something when I'm not, or just like kind of a misunderstanding there, or but definitely when somebody attacks my character, my morals, my intentions, when I know that it's so far off. It doesn't offend me when people say something that is true. That's the thing, is that sometimes when people be like, oh, if she gets offended, it's because it's true. It's actually the opposite. If you say something that's true, I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. So, like, Shallon Lester being like, at least my mom's not an illegal immigrant. Like, my mom's a citizen now, but she was an illegal immigrant, and some people don't like when I use that term, undocumented. She was. What's there to get offended about? That is true. Whether or not Shallon Lester is fat, I don't care. I'm not looking for that. But my mom being an illegal immigrant has no bearing on whether or not she is. So, like, stuff like that doesn't offend me. That's why I could just kind of laugh it off. People will say things, or people will insult me and I think just be rude, and say things about, like, my voice or my teeth, or, she's so monotone, she talks so slowly, things like that. And it bothers me when people are rude, because I just would expect my viewers to be a little bit more polite, because that's just not how we talk to people. But I don't get bent out of shape about it. I get bent out of shape when the people who watch me and are close to me misunderstand me or misrepresent me. So what you were saying, yeah, is pretty close to what I would say offends me the most. I like questions, if you guys will send me more. Online therapy during this time? Yes. Yeah, I see my therapist sometimes every week, sometimes every other week. And a psychiatrist. Yeah, AJ, I think that's a good point about my core audience. I think what's really tough about Allison, that's a good question. I'll come back to it. My core audience, that's really tough, because as I'm growing pretty fast, right now is a little bit slower of a period, that core audience changes, right? Because when I was like at 5 to 10K, it was like everybody was a super supporter who watched me. Everybody was super nice. And then it grew to like 20K, and it's like half of those people were really good, like super supporters and really nice. And then half of them were people who were interested in what I had to say, but weren't necessarily like fans and followers. And as it grows even bigger, it's like the level of like support is, there's some at the super core that are very strong, and then as I expand the level of support, and I don't, of course that's natural, not everybody needs to support me who watches me, that wouldn't be realistic, right? But it's learning how to adjust as your audience grows, to learn that the percentage of strong support is going to lessen and lessen as your audience grows. In terms of my most proud video, that's funny. I'm trying to think of what my most popular videos are. I think my like 3 or 4 most popular videos are Trisha videos. So that's interesting. I'm most proud of my first. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. So sweet. My first Gabby video was the one that this little fucker. That's the one that really kind of like kicked things off for me. So I'm proud of it in that sense. Of course, it's not like my best edited. But that'd be hard to say, because there's a few that I really, really like. As of right now, the one where I talk about Gabby Hanna's poetry is I really, really like that one, just because in editing I think it came together really well, and I think I made some good points, and I think that's when you started to see more of my personality come through. And then same with this one with Shallon Lester. I think the more comfortable I get in front of the camera, the more you'll hear me speak in longer stretches versus like short jump cuts, because that comes from a nervousness and a slower, speaking slower, trying to get my thoughts together. But as I get more passionate, usually my ranty ones are the ones I like the most, because as I'm passionate, you get to hear me speak a little bit faster, speak for longer stretches, and you see my like kind of snarky sense of humor come out. I don't think I say anything like out of line, but I can be a little bit feisty where need be, and I'm sure that is, a relative thing, and it's different. I'm trying to figure out my white balance here. Some people are bothered by it. I understand it's relative. Some people think that what I think is feisty, they think is mean, and what I think is feisty, some people think is not mean enough. I love it when you guys like the feistiness. Lucky Charms. Do the histories take a toll on me mentally and emotionally? Not a ton emotionally, because I don't think any of these people are terrible. Like, the people who I actually think are terrible are the people I don't really talk about much. Like, I've said this about, like, Onision. Like, I'm not gonna have much to say because that's criminal shit, and, like, what more can I'm not an investigator. I'm just gonna be like, that's bad. So the people that I do these histories on, like I said earlier on in this chat, I don't get as outraged about these people as I think a lot of the YouTube audience does. So for me, it's interesting to just sort of, it gives some structure to my videos, where my videos tend to be a little bit scatterbrained. So I like that format, and I like that it's kind of a recurring thing that you guys can expect to see from me, and people do get excited when they see that because they know more or less what to expect. And there are countless YouTubers that we can do these on that we'd like to see this sort of format video from. We don't see a lot of them. I mean, I've never seen anything done like that. I've seen like everything wrong with so-and-so in 10 minutes or whatever. Do I dabble in art? Kind of. I'm sort of an artist, but not really. But that's a long story. But I will say, the last Trisha episode did a toll on me leading up to it, because I kept procrastinating it during a time that was really hard for me, and a lot of people were asking, where's the video? Where's the Trisha video? Where's the Trisha video? And I was like, guys, I was going through a really tough time, and I needed to take some extra time. And the people closest to me, like my Patreons or my patrons, and the closer, the subscribers that keep up with me, they understood. They were like, take your time, and it's nobody's responsibility to know what's going on with me. And my personal friends with other YouTubers, I like that question. So yeah, it was just tough just getting it out. And then once I finally did it, and then I did get to the point where I'm like, I'm kind of tired of researching Trisha, but it wasn't like emotionally exhausting. Am I friends with other YouTubers? So you guys want the skinny? Like, you want to know who I'm friends with? Or do you want to know who I've connected with? In terms of Gabby, she blamed it on her MCN. I don't know if it was her or her MCN, but either way, she knows, and they know that people make commentary videos about her. So I kind of call BS, but she was nice to me about it. So I thanked her for being so kind, or so decent. In terms of my YouTube friends, so I have become, well, you guys knew that I started chatting with Chris from the Rewired Soul. And then he asked me to do, so if you guys want to know kind of what that scandal was all about, being that we're both in recovery, we're both sober for about the same amount of time. We are Ambren's here. Hey, Ambren. I didn't see her name, but I see Libby saying hi. Chris and I are the same age and have the same amount of time sober. So, you know, and we both like talk about mental health and YouTubers. So, not knowing everything about, not knowing everything about his drama in the past, he actually reached out to me, which I have an issue with a little bit now looking back on it, but he reached out to me, befriended me, talked to me a lot in DMs. I thought he was a nice guy. I do think he's a nice guy. And then he said, like, hey, would you want to make a video for my subscribers to talk about what your coping mechanisms for anxiety and depression? And then so I was like, sure, why not? That sounds like a fantastic topic, and I would love to like talk to your subscribers about it. I'm gonna fix my lighting here really quick. So, and then that created a shitstorm. So, sorry, I'm not reading the comments. So he was one of the first ones that that befriended me. But then after that happened, I did kind of stop talking to him, because even though I don't know that I agree with all of the outrage against him, I was a little upset that he didn't think to warn me that I would see so much backlash. So there was him. And then I've been talking, I've talked a good bit about the other couple of YouTubers that have reached out to me and that I've reached out to during this time. So Footless Joe and Rachel Oates, I would say, are my two like YouTuber friends who have bigger platforms than me. And they're so nice, and they're so they're so willing to reach out and give guidance, which I hope to be able to do when I get to that point. In terms of personal friendships with YouTubers, they're OG YouTubers. So I've never met in person, but I've kind of have like a decade long distance friendship with Toby Turner. And then I know Josh Sundquist. I don't know if anybody remembers him because he was only on YouTube for a little while, I think. He's more of a motivational speaker now. Josh Sundquist, he just happened to live in the building where I was working while he was on YouTube. So we became friends. And then I became friends with Luke Baratz out of Baratz and Beretta, just from being a fan. So those are the YouTubers that I'm personal friends with. I think that's it. I mean, and of course, like smaller creators that are my friends, that I think of more as friends and people than YouTube channels. Glasses or contacts? Oh, I prefer glasses. Seems lost. I hope he finds his way one day. I feel the same, Mousy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I do think that he's got some things to figure out. Thank you, Jenna. That's really sweet. Louise, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I've got a good fan base there. Fan base. Ugh, don't like that word. But like an audience there in the UK. I like that. Do you like to bake? Not really. It's kind of messy to have like such small apartments and kitchens. If you could know the absolute total truth of one question, what would you ask? I don't know that I have one. I kind of like how I'm figuring things out as we go. Hey, UK squad, where you at? Hey, if you guys, I never think to ask you guys, but if you have not hit the thumbs up button, please do so. Or if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. But I know that I never think to do it unless somebody reminds me. Okay, UK squad is out and they are fierce right now. And you guys are part of the reason right now that I am doing a 2 o'clock stream because I wanted to give Europe some airtime here with me. Yay, thank you for the likes, you guys. Thank you, Lukey Charms. I like to decorate my apartment. You guys are asking a lot of good questions. Do I dream a lot and do I remember my dreams? Not a ton. I have been dreaming lately. I had an interesting dream about getting a really fancy new job last night. So that was interesting. Is DC scary right now? I'm not scared. We're just still in lockdown. So it's just what it is. I actually feel safer here than I would be like back home where my mom is in Georgia, where people are out and about going to eat. So, Chicago squad, Canadians. I know we have some Canadians in here. Aw, thank you, Glamorous Monstrosity. I do care about my Europe. We have on my, oh, of course, Ambrin's Canadian. Yeah, on Patreon, I do a good bit of live streams and a lot of them are just kind of impromptu. And of course, impromptu live streams are going to be the most convenient for people whose time zones are close to mine. So we try to like at least once a week or so. Patrons, do you think that would be fair to say once a week or so, try to do like a midday for me live stream that we call the Euro Squad chat so that we can give, you guys a more convenient time to chat. Sparkling almonds, no problem. Thank you for the compliment. Ooh, the comments are coming fast. Louise, if it played loud upbeat music would be. I'm not sure. An inanimate object that already does annoy me as a jackhammer because I hear them every day outside. They're using this time to like really, I think the DC government is like really using this time to get some like road work done, which is smart. But for those of us who work from home, that means that I have to get to listen to jackhammers all day and it messes with my my filming schedule. So, did I grow up in Atlanta? No. I grew up military and ended up in high school in Southwest Georgia. absolute makeup product. Nah. I like eyeliner. The e.l.f. eyeliners I'm a fan of right now. What is the best piece of advice I would give to a new YouTuber? I might have to just scroll through these. To a new YouTuber. I would have to say that the more you want growth on this channel, the more you try for growth and success on this channel and popularity, the longer it's going to take for you to get it. I was going to say something about like negativity, but I really think that that's the big one. I think a lot of people come to me wanting to know, how did you grow as fast as you did? And it's such like it's a difficult piece of advice to give, because it's something that, how can you intuit that, right? But it's because I didn't expect or try. It just kind of happened because I was just genuinely making content that I wanted to make, and then it just caught on. My second favorite color is plum. We've talked about this in a couple. I like a mid gray is my favorite. Fat Sajak, you're being a little too nice to me, because I don't think that I'm very succinct in my videos. I try to be, but you know, I think that one of my biggest flaws is that I do kind of talk around in circles, or say a lot to get to the point, because I have a lot of thoughts that I want to like put out and like let you guys know my entire thought process. And kind of earlier on, or kind of midway through this process, I learned that that's problematic for some people, like the way that I would do rant upon rant upon rant about the same topic, because for me it was interesting to kind of continue talking about things and to let you guys know my entire thought processes. So that's not something I'm the best at, but if I do want to try to do better at it, it's a really difficult balance, because it's good to have an outline for what I'm going to talk about in my videos. I couldn't do an outright script, or else that, like, I've already been told that I sound like monotone and robotic at times, and that's nervousness, and that's me almost trying to repeat things that I've already scripted for myself, etc. So a script is not good, because there's nothing natural about it for me. However, to go completely off the cuff, which I love to do sometimes, is where I'm going to be kind of all over the map. So if I do have an outline, then it's a little easier for me to be like, oh yeah, okay, here's the thought I want to give on this, in this order. And at least it gives some flow to my video. Libby, I always lose track of how old you are. Sometimes I think you're 19, sometimes I think you're 20. There's a fly in my apartment. Atticus is going crazy. Who doesn't like Italian greyhounds, especially if you watch Jenna and Julian, right? I don't have any dogs, though. I used to have one. Michael Bell, these questions. They're so out there. Nostalgic music. A lot of it can be like Third Eye Blind. I have a Third Eye Blind tattoo. Sometimes it can be really like, there are different types of nostalgic music for me. Sometimes it can be like early 2000s music, like Jimmy Eat World, The Killers, like stuff like that will really take me back to like college. Coldplay, John Mayer during that period. There's that stuff. Then you can go back to like the Cranberries and the Goo Goo Dolls and take me back to like the mid 90s and reminds me of being a kid and like road trips and stuff like that. And then there's some stuff from like the late 90s that's like honestly like the pop music that every young girl my age was into. So it's like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, O-Town. Alex of what is Orange is the New Black? Is that Laura Prepon? Because I've been told that before. I think I sound like her too, a little bit. What am I watching? I'm not trying to pass any time, honestly. This is a very, very, very busy time for me. Hanson, I was obsessed. Okay, you guys, funny story. So yeah, I'm not really trying to pass any time. I am, for some reason, because I can't decide on any of the good shows that I want to watch. I'm watching Too Hot to Handle at night before I fall asleep. Hanson, I was obsessed with. And it's funny because my boyfriend and I have the whole like, would you have liked me when I was, would I have liked you when we were kids type of deal, or you wouldn't have liked me. I was like chubby and awkward. We have those conversations. And he and I both were heavier than we are now. And he's like, no, you wouldn't have liked me when we were kids because everybody said I look like Zach Hansen. And and then I make these jokes, and my mom like will point out that that Zach Hansen was my #1 crush when I was like 11 years old. But also I just realized I shouldn't talk about my boyfriend because sometimes he accidentally surprises me by being in these dreams. Would you still love me if I was a worm? I'm not, that's the thing, I've never heard of it. Columbus, Georgia. That is close to, somewhat close. It's about an hour and a half away from my hometown. My hometown. I was born in Denver. I grew up a lot in California. I mean, it's really hard to say where my hometown is. Which YouTube channel is a guilty pleasure for me? A channel you watching but more hesitant to tell people? I'm not hesitant to tell anybody what I'm watching. I think what's harder, or almost like I feel like I have to qualify for people, is letting people know that I like Gabby Hanna's videos. And I think at this point I've said it enough to where I don't have to hesitate at all. I think people just get it. But kind of at the beginning of all this, people would be like some people did not think, some guy on Twitter, 19-year-old guy, really took issue with the fact that I'm subscribed to her channels. He like tweet stormed me and was just like, what makes you think that you have the right blah, blah, blah? Why are you subscribed to every single one of her channels, including her podcast? I was like, because I like them. And he was like, but why are you subscribed to them if she's such a bad person? I'm like, she's not a bad person. I'm just critical. Yeah, but I like the Vlog Squad. I mean, it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure because they're all so much younger than me, except for Jason. Really all of YouTube in a sense is a guilty pleasure for me, which is why I'm here, because I'm 34. And I care so much about what's going on with YouTubers, and most people my age, or most people that I know, don't. But I will say I've connected with a lot of you guys who are in the same boat, who are like, yes, I'm in my 30s and I'm obsessed with YouTube and nobody around me gives a shit or knows what I'm talking about. So, yeah. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Griff. Yes, exactly. All of YouTube is your guilty pleasure. Hi, Michaela. Yeah, Fat Sajak, that's a really good point. And I do hope that, I sometimes I get discouraged because I think that what I'm doing is so different from what is very popular on YouTube. Sometimes I wonder if that means my channel's going to sink, and if it does, it does. But I am critical, but I for the most part, I'm not mean. I was kind of mean last night to Shallon Lester. I'm critical, but I'm not mean. And the people I'm critical of, I typically, I don't hate anyone, but I typically don't dislike most of the people that I'm critical of. Aw, thank you, Natalie. So I believe in criticism. I do think, thank you, JJ. I do think it's important to be critical, and it's tough. It's tough to hear criticism. However, I will say, as a YouTuber now, I've been criticized, and it's actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be to hear it. I guess being on YouTube, you kind of expect a lot of it, and if people deliver it in a way that is respectful and tactful, it's almost refreshing. So I really do think that it is important that if you're going to be a public figure, and here's the thing, is that what I don't like about things that I hear Gabby Hanna say or other YouTubers say is that, these drama channels, these commentary channels, blah, 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 they're just writing on blah, 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 and saying this and that. And it's like, no, any single job, any job, including mine on YouTube, is subject to criticism, just like you guys go to your job. Well, I know a lot of us are home from our jobs, but you guys go to your jobs, you have performance reviews, you have managers that tell you when you've done a good job and when you're doing something wrong. You have people who train you, people who guide you. You ask for advice, you ask for help, and it is so pompous and cocky and conceited and narcissistic of public figures to think that they can go out, have their platform, do what they want to do, say what they want to do, act how they want to act, and have nobody criticize that. That to me is insane. So I do think it's important that we accept criticism, not necessarily hate. Nobody has to accept hate. That is not something anybody should stand for or should endorse. So they're very, very different. Yeah. Thank you, McKenna. They're so incredibly different. One is beneficial and one is destructive. And we need to figure out which one we're doing before we speak. And once we've spoken and we figure out that we thought we were doing this, but in fact we were doing that, then guess what we need to learn how to do? Apologize. And so I'm really hoping that with my channel, I can kind of start to bring the audience back to these basics, this common sense, these core values that we all hold. We all hold them. It's interesting because it's funny because Ambrin, you guys know of my friend Ambrin, she's in this chat. She pointed me towards a video yesterday where the YouTuber said something about, because one of the topics Ambrin and I talk about a lot is outrage culture on YouTube, and how oftentimes people take, not a ton, but people take issue with my content because it's not outraged enough, right? I'm not pissed off enough. I'm not hateful and just fiery and passionate enough about people, or that I take kind of a neutral stance sometimes, and sometimes people will be like, pick a side. This video that Amber pointed me towards was saying that, she was like, I think it's just become such a trend on the internet to basically just to call somebody out on something, hate them really hard, and say, you did this, you're a bad person, because somehow it makes them feel like, oh, Cassie, you didn't need to do that. Thank you. It makes you feel like you are morally superior for a moment, for being there to stand up and say that somebody else has done something wrong. And I think, if you want to speak out against about somebody else's behaviors because you want to bring some insight to the table, I think that's amazing. Do that. But just to jump on a bandwagon of hate when somebody's already received more than their fair share, I think is really just self-serving more than it is expressing an opinion or fighting for their cause or whatever it is, So I am trying to, I think, kind of temper our support for outrage culture, which kind of encompasses cancel culture, which is a whole conversation in and of itself. I don't know, Mackenzie, I was just going off about outrage culture and what my channel's about. Yeah, I wish my mom a happy Mother's Day. I need to check and see if she got the card that I sent her. I love my mom. She's the best. Who are some women in or not in your personal life that you've looked up to over the years? Well, I just mentioned my mom. Oh, thank you. Matt Chewbacca, that's so sweet. Yeah, I think it's really fitting that today we talk about mom. If your mom is somebody that you look up to. Oh, thank you, Alex. You guys are being very, very sweet, sending these super chats, especially because none of you are asking anything in return for it. If you had a question, I would take the time to answer them, I promise. But you guys are doing that out of the kindness of your hearts, and that means a lot to me. My mom is an amazing woman. She's not perfect, and I disagree with her sometimes, but she is somebody who definitely loves unconditionally and definitely dedicates her life to other people. And, she's got a big family, and at any given moment, she is dedicating herself and her resources to whoever needs help at that time. And there are times where I get fed up with certain people in my family, and everybody else does too, and my mom will let that person come and live with her, and and hold them accountable to whatever she needs that to. But my mom and I could get into stories, but they're just way too personal. But my mom is the most forgiving person I've ever met, and that blows my mind. The other woman I've always looked up to was my Auntie Loopy. You guys have heard me talk a little bit about her. Some of you may be like, oh, I've heard you talk about her. Some of you might be like, who is that? My mom's baby sister, who's 4 years older than me. I've referred to her in maybe my first video about anxiety and depression. I talked about some family deaths. She was the aunt who was kind of like a cousin or sister to me. So she was 4 years older than me. And yeah, Cassie, I know that's what brothers are for. But I looked up to her being 4 years older than me and just being like, obviously, as a kid, when you have somebody in your life that's 4 years older than you, that's just the age gap that you need to be like, oh my God, this person's so cool. But she was really cool. She was so cool. She was beautiful, for one. She was really funny, really charming, really kind and nice and smart. And I don't think, this might be a little bit controversial of an opinion of me, but I don't think we need that many qualities to get by in society. And I think that's why you don't meet a lot of people that have all of those qualities. Usually you only need a couple of those qualities to get by in life, You can be beautiful and you can be smart and then you can get by, no offense, being a bitch. And a lot of people are that way. And they get by in life because they've already got enough of those qualities to carry them on, and allow them to go on. So it was always interesting to me with my Auntie Loopy for her to be so beautiful. And then there's the other thing here too, for people who are beautiful and attractive and they grow up with that, it's some of the rest of us are like, I grew up and I developed a personality because I wasn't so attractive as a kid. I think I'm one of those, but she was also one of those people that was so like witty and hilarious and at the same time being beautiful and kind. It's just it blows my mind that she had so many positive qualities, and I really looked up to her growing up, and I like to think I'm a lot like her. I'm sure I'm my own brand, definitely a nerdier version of her. Well, those two are my big ones. In terms of like anybody that I don't know that I really looked up to. I'm trying to think if there are any kind of fictional characters or anything like that. I'd have to think on that one a little bit. I'm sure there are a few celebrities that I've looked up to and thought highly of. Give me some time on that one. Or of course you can give me a yes or no. Thank you, Michaela. I agree. I think that about my audience too. They always have such nice things to say and such thoughtful and beautiful words. No, I haven't read that author. We're starting water, yay! I need to start my book for May. On Patreon we have a book club, a monthly book club. So we just had our first meeting yesterday for April. My plans for the next few years, it's hard to say. I would love to see this become my my full-time job, right? Because as of right now, I think I'm almost producing at a full-time level while maintaining a full-time job. So it's a lot for me. So my hope, say within 2 years from now, I would hope that I would be my own boss, that I am creating content online, and that be my full-time job, and that I determine what I do and when I do it and all of that. And that because that would be my full-time job, hopefully that would ease the pressure a lot. William Burroughs I've read. So yeah, I would love to be able to do this and kind of have it a little bit more regimented so that I could ease the pressure off myself and take more time just to relax. Oh, thank you, Alice. I feel like all Capri Suns taste the same to me. They're great, but they all tasted the same to me. The good thing with them is that they're all like fruit juice, right? They're not, I mean, they're sugary as hell, but they didn't have any like fake colors in them. Am I Mexican? I think I remember. Yes, I'm half Mexican. My mom is full Mexican. Big Mexican family. Art school is making you depressed. Oh no, I've been there. Oh, that's a tough one because I did drop out of art school. I will say it depends on where you go, because I think legitimately where I was going to school, getting my master's online, I think the school is kind of scammy. It's called the Academy of Art University. And, you know, I have racked up $100,000 in student debt and without a master's degree, which is a really tough pill to swallow. And then, you know, going back retroactively doing my research, I'm finding, yeah, we're known for teaching our friends dirty words. So what was I saying? Yeah, retroactively going back and doing my research and finding that that school was notorious for just accepting anyone and everyone and not really letting people pass classes. Yeah, I wouldn't say just drop out if you're unhappy. You know, I wouldn't say to give up on anything not just because like it's not important. Mental health, depression, those things are all really, really important to pay attention to and to address. But do you always need to drop the thing that is contributing to it if that thing is also beneficial to you in your life? Or are there ways that you can find that you balance those things? And if that's all too much right now, I mean, take a semester if you need to. I need to learn how to take a beat sometimes when I need to give myself a break to figure things out. Yeah, I actually transferred out of MIT for my first year of college. I went to MIT, and it was, I guess I probably was depressed, but I didn't know what that was, and definitely anxious at the time, but I didn't know what that was at the time. I was 17 and 18, but I knew that I wasn't happy, and I wasn't there. Of course, I'm trying to zickly pies. I hope that helps. And of course you have to make a very measured decision and realize that it does affect the rest of your life, and don't let that overwhelm you, because you will be fine with whatever decision you make. But don't make a temporary decision or a permanent decision based on temporary circumstances. So I did take my time to decide to transfer out of MIT, which is a very prestigious school where I could have had fantastic opportunities in front of me. Spoiler, having 1 year, having that anywhere on your resume does, it does help open some doors. But I had to walk away from that opportunity after a year because I couldn't keep up with it, and it was making me so unhappy. And I ended up transferring to a school that's not all that reputable, but I had a really good time, and I got a good education, and so I don't regret it at all. So many counselors? What do you mean, Cassie? Do you mean like, I'm not sure if you mean counselors like in school. When I think of counseling, I think of like therapy and stuff like that. And I like having a good handful of those. It's good to hear some different perspectives while I watch your stream, because this is the first one I've been able to catch it. Oh, yay, Logan. I'm glad you were able to catch it. I'm going to try to do this more often so you guys in different time zones, get a chance to chat with me. I have to say it because I pose in different area codes. I hope any of you under the age of 18 didn't hear that. The popularization of anxiety. There's the public figure Alicia who wants to be like, we should talk about it and destigmatize it. I think for a little while there it was sexy to talk about, and it's not a sexy feeling at all. I'm not one to say whether or not anybody's experience is or is not what they say it is, but sometimes I wonder if people are mistaking stress for anxiety, because the two are not the same. Any music channels on YouTube? That's funny. They're just there are a couple bands that I really like that I follow on YouTube. I follow the 1975 and Joan. I don't follow a ton of bands or music channels because if I want to listen to their music, usually I'm listening to it on Spotify. But those two bands, I'm interested when they come out with a music video. Thank you to all you others who have given thumbs up. I see that every time I check it, it's gone up a few. Oh, I know that you really like the Medea comedies, Cassie. I don't think I've caught any of them yet. Yeah, Haley. I'm not a fan of Green Day, Leia, but my little sister was. She's 10 years younger than me. Yeah, with anxiety, I think what does frustrate me is when people say that they're so anxious about things that really they're more stressed about. And it bothers me when people say that they're depressed when they're disappointed or sad in something. I know that it's kind of, in a lot of situations, hyperbole and exaggeration, but it construes the meaning of these words, and I think we need to really try our best to understand them in order to destigmatize these things and really get proper education around them. Best quarantine hair on YouTube. Wow, thank you. I really haven't been in love with my hair lately. I think as I've gotten a little older. Oh, my lip is bleeding. But thank you, Sajak. No, Cassie, sorry, maybe you didn't hear me earlier. I haven't watched any of those movies yet. Do I bullet journal? I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, sometimes I think my hair is thinning, that I used to have thicker hair, but I did some dry shampoo before this. People don't know how to pronounce your name correctly. I mean, the way that, I don't know, it looks pretty obvious to me. Saying that you're anxious about XYZ is different from and that's okay. People can feel anxious as long as they know it's not the same. Yeah, and that's where I'm a little bit mixed because, for instance, first dates used to make me, I think, disproportionately anxious. I think that I would get anxious to a degree that is not normal. But I could say I am anxious about this date, or feeling anxious about blood work results, things like that. Those feelings, it's tough for me because those feelings can be legitimate anxiety. But for me, I think it's the difference between anxiety and an anxiety disorder, right? So if you are anxious about things that warrant anxiety, like blood work results, taking a test, a difficult conversation or confrontation, those things are natural to make people anxious, right? So, but what's different and what I don't think people understand when I say that I have anxiety, a lot of times people will say like, well, what are you anxious about? And it's like, no, it's nothing in particular. It's just something that happens to me for no reason, and that's why it is that's why it is a disorder. Anxiousness and not anxiety. I hear anxiety really quickly in a lot of doctors' offices. Yeah, sometimes I get anxious and depressed and there are no thoughts attached. Oh goodness, the comments are going quickly. Yeah, to me, stress is not anxiety. They feel very, very, very different. For me, for example, stress is something that will drain me of my energy, right? Stress is trying to get so many things done in a short period of time. And anxiety is something that gives me too much energy. It's canned energy and I don't know what to do with it. And I can't focus. I can't get anything done because it is getting in the way of my ability to focus. Whereas with stress, I can focus really, really well. Yeah, yeah, and it really does have a lot to do with the amygdala and whether or not you're in limbic mode, as I say. Um, okay, bye, Michaela. Cassie, I don't watch Medea. I told you that a couple of times. Um, yeah, it's. I don't like when these words do become they lose their meanings because people use them a little too often. But I think maybe we're kind of coming out of that, where people are not glamorizing mental health as much. Not to say. Not to say that it's interesting because we still need to have the conversations around mental health, but we need to have the proper conversations around mental health. And in order to do that, we need to let the people who really know about these things be the ones who talk about them in terms of education instead of thank you, Stephanie. Aw, I got a compliment too. How do I say this? We should all be open to the conversation, but I don't think everybody should be speaking as an expert on these things. And right now, I think we're coming off of this trend of mental health being really sexy and cool and trendy to be like unwell, and now it's people trying to figure out like valuing the process of getting better, which is a really, really good thing. That is what we should be valuing. But now there's a lot of chatter, and that's what I take issue with right now, and it's just something that we're gonna have to work on. But I think that no, I probably won't be talking about Graveyard Girl. I don't really watch her. But I do think that it's like everybody on the internet seems to have an opinion about every single mental health topic that comes up. And it's just not possible that we all know everything about all these disorders. You know, I am, mental health is at the top of my list of things I'm thinking about all the time, right? And I'm never going to claim to know that much about most disorders. So I think we need to stop with the chatter so much and be more willing to listen, if that makes sense. Be more willing to be educated versus having a need to put in your 2 cents and argue with someone. Gabby Hanna's relatively new ADHD. I don't know. That's not something I have, so it's not something. It's one aspect of her that I can't relate to. Like when she talks about anxiety and depression, I get that. But the ADHD, I have noticed that she's brought it up. She's recognized that it gets in the way that socially it makes some of her behaviors socially unacceptable. The example she uses a lot is that she needs to be scrolling on her phone while talking to somebody in order to hear the conversation. And if she were my friend, that would really offend me. If I'm trying to talk to my boyfriend or anyone and they're on their phone, I have to stop talking so that I can let them finish whatever they're doing on their phone. And I do believe in giving people your undivided attention when you're having a conversation, having eye contact, and that body language. It does irritate the shit out of me when I do talk to people and they're like, keep going, I'm listening, keep going, I'm listening. Stop, don't, I told you, I'm listening, I'm listening. I hate that so much. But the fact that Gabby says, I cannot focus unless I am on my phone, then I see that like that's a problem. That's a problem for Irene when that happens. It's a problem for Gabby that she's experiencing it. So if if that is legitimately something that she's going through and she's seeking help for it, then good. Then good. That's the right thing to do. In lieu of actually having diagnosed ADHD. It's similar to people saying they have OCD because they like to be tidy. I see what you're saying, Fat Say Jack. I don't know if we know though. Public speaking career kicking off. Soraya, you want to start setting up some events? We'll go on tour. I don't know. I don't know. Gabby may have been diagnosed ADHD at some point, and if that's the case, then it's not our place to say that she doesn't have it. The other side of the coin is that I know that when I was growing up, doctors were prescribing Ritalin and diagnosing ADHD left and right. So it's, what do you do? It could be legitimate ADHD. Just because I'm hard on her doesn't mean that I'm going to negate whatever struggle she says she's going through. Yeah, no, Fat Sajak, like if that's the vibe you get, that's very fair for you to say that's the feeling you get. Like I said, I wonder if Shallon Lester even knows what anxiety feels like. Like she said she has it. How is it my place to even say that? But we get these different feelings for different reasons. Event coordinator, Soraya, you're cute. Kaden, I do have a degree, a Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood Education. And then when I went back, we earlier talked about art school. I was going back to school. I was going to get a degree in interior architecture and design so that I could be an interior designer. That coursework was too difficult and was not along the lines of anything I wanted to be doing. So I switched over to fashion design. When I went to fashion design, they put me in a master's degree program. Um, I have three. I graduate with honors. Cum laude. Cassie, Gabby's not a bad girl. Gabby has a lot of room to grow. And sometimes is resistant to listening to people because it is really hard. It is hard to listen to people, especially when a lot of people on the internet are against you. It's difficult to like figure out which of those videos do you open up and which of those voices do you listen to. And she seems to have a lot of really good friends around her and a lot of family, and her sister is always checking Twitter for her. So I would hope that she would eventually open up to hearing. I feel very 90s. Like I feel like I've got the Rachel right now. It's making me like insecure, but I kind of like it. But I would hope that she would eventually be like, okay, let's talk about some of these criticisms I'm receiving so that I can learn from them. And I would hope that at that point, people like Irene and Peyton and her sister and these really good friends and family and boyfriend would help point her in the direction of those criticisms. But I'm not so sure that the people in her life are the kind of people that are going to point her in the direction of criticism. I think she might need a little bit more of the kinds of friends that would do that. Exactly, Brandon. I really feel that she is only one small step away from being so much more likable. And all that is just looking inside for a second to be like, maybe the things people are saying about me could be right. Maybe this might be me. This might be a me problem. So maybe I need to look inside for a moment and see if there's anything in here that I need to address, acknowledge, apologize for, or anything like that. And it's a scary thing to do. But it's also like, I think a lot of you probably know. Oh, bye, Cassie. I think a lot of us know, like growing up, there are certain things that are just so scary to get under control once you like come into adulthood. I think thankfully I'm starting to get to a point in my life where I've got most things in order. Like I've got my life all set up. Probably like tackling my debt is what I'm working on right now. But things like, I know that my younger friends in their 20s, it's like, getting on their own cell phone plan and getting on their own car insurance and car payments and getting paperwork done and going to set up a general practitioner and a gynecologist and then getting therapy. And like there's certain things that it's like as part of growing up, these things seem so monstrous. Or even something as simple as a big stack of mail that has got like bills in it and stuff like that and like overdue notices. Some of these things are so big and scary, and then once you rip off the band-aid and actually look into them, you find that it really was obviously never as bad as you imagined it was going to be. The anxiety of dealing with it was worse than actually doing it, and you feel so much better and lighter and cleaner once those things are addressed. And I think that's where Gabby needs to get, and I wish that I could help her with that. Tiffany, I agree to an extent. I do think that there are some people who are just being mean to her and not allowing her the space to grow. I don't think that she is doing enough. I think she would have apologized for something more than just the Bianca thing. But we'll see. We'll see. She was very nice to me. Some people, yes, like Rachel is holding her accountable. I'm holding her accountable. Some people are just mean. I think Angelica Olds is pretty much just fed up with her at this point. Never understood, never just clicked. Yeah, Jana, that's cool. It's not for everyone. Yeah, once you rip the Band-Aid off, it's a lot easier. What's really interesting, too, the finger pointing. I thought you meant me doing this, like, looking at the comments. I was like, goodness. Makeup that I use is it's different all the time. Right now I'm obsessed with drugstore. I'll go into into modes where I'm like all at Sephora and everything, and then there'll be times where I'm like, no, I'm 100% positive these things exist and under $3. So that's the moment I'm in right now. So like, do you guys want to know what kind of makeup I'm wearing right now? Is it true I was dating Keanu Reeves? Is that to say that I look like somebody who looks like Keanu? Hi, Spain. Esther in Spain. Okay, so the foundation that I use has pretty much stayed the same for years and years. It is Clinique. I've got this like little zit right here that's driving me nuts. But Clinique is, I don't remember, it's like a little bottle like this size. It's liquid. I usually mix that with the Clinique Dramatically Different Gel moisturizer because I don't want a lot of foundation on my skin, so I actually don't wear a lot of it. Alyssa Milano, oh, thank you. That's nice. She's very pretty. So I will use that. Then e.l.f. has a concealer with a doe foot applicator that I really like. It's I tried to find Tarte Shape Tape and I couldn't find it, but e.l.f. has this concealer with a doe foot applicator and it's like pretty sticky and it's I like it. So I'll use that, like, of course, under my eyes and in my T-zone, on the tip of my nose, here and here. My eyebrows, it's just like some Wet n Wild little palette. My eyeliner, even though, oh, this is looking bad. Look, somebody's reaching for my hand. This is e.l.f. There are two different eyeliners I like by them. There's one that's like it's called like Intense or something like that. Do you see that? And it's like a felt tip marker, and it's like a chunky felt tip marker, and that's what I use like on a day-to-day. For my videos though, there's a thinner marker that like deposits more and is a little more, I don't want to say opaque. Yeah, it's more opaque. So I use that for my videos. I have a lot of different mascaras that I'm using, so I just try different ones. I got one of those like Christmas packs at Sephora that has like little sample sizes of all these different ones. And as for blush right now, I use various different ones. This one's like Milani, I think. And then for contour, I usually use the, what is it? Is it Too Faced? That has the one that's like chocolate or whatever. I usually use that. And, oh, thank you, Tiana. I found a Wet n Wild contour that looks like the same color I was using, and I started using it. Honestly, I like it maybe more. Yeah, he was doing this yesterday during my 2 Patreon live streams, and I had to tell him to leave because he was like, he kept like hitting my what am I trying to say? My tripod. Hello, Gibraltar, Lily in Gibraltar. Thank you for the hair compliment. Yes, he's demanding the attention right now, and I am petting him. He's just like, when he hears me speaking to you guys, he feels like he needs attention. When I'm quiet, it's totally fine. Hi, Madison. I see you, recognize your face. Atticus's energy is just so high all the time. Amber, and I swear I can't with him sometimes. Sometimes I can't with this cat. Molly Burke, not really. I've seen her. She's friends with a lot of YouTubers that I watch. Caitlin Bennett, she's an idiot. And she's a troll. She's all kinds of things that are just annoying. And hey, Matt, Chewbacca, do you want to take him for the day? Yes. I will say that those 10 seconds of what video, which video was it? It was the one before my last one. I forgot what my video was about, 2 videos about, but, or I guess it was the Trisha video. The first 10 seconds where he was just like, Mom. That I watched that on repeat. She started licking your homework. That's funny. Oh my gosh, Cassandra. That sounds awful. You're a good-looking chick, but YouTube is fun when you troll. Therefore, I will find another channel. Not sure what that means. You don't mind babysitting the fur baby? Make up a chatty video. I would love to see a makeup chatty video. Thank you. I know a lot of people want to see me do a makeup video, but for one, I don't have the setup really for that, like lighting and stuff, where at my makeup table it would look. I know that a lot of YouTubers are fine filming anywhere in their apartments or their houses, but for me, I like to have an aesthetically pleasing backdrop, so to have like my bed in the background would look weird to me. But more than that, I'm not a makeup guru. I've already had people criticize my makeup in videos when I've claimed so many times that I'm not a makeup expert. So, it's just not something I'd be into right now. I don't know. Maybe down the road, but I don't see myself being any more interested in it than I am now, because I used to be interested in it when I used to watch YouTube in the earlier days. I actually was a makeup artist for a short time and actually did some wedding makeup a few times. But then, everybody became an expert and I was just like, never mind. Thank you, Madison. You're right, Alice. I could possibly. I think I'd have a hard time focusing because I like to read your comments. Jess, any updates on Dissociated and Team Pinata? I have somebody reaching out to me that's giving, giving me either false or true information that I don't think is my information to have. Full beat with the rainbow eyelid loop. No, I don't film when somebody else is here, but I live alone, so it's easy. And guys, I may have to cut this here before too terribly long. Tattoo tag. How many I don't know how many I have exactly. Probably like 10. I also have 2 removed. But if you go back probably 2 lives or so, I do a tattoo tour. So just so everyone knows before anyone starts heading out, because I'm going to be heading out here soon. helloleesh.com. I finally have a place where I have all my links. We have a lot of fun stuff going on over at Patreon. But more importantly, I'm excited because I am editing our first episode of Girlmance, which is our podcast. Ambrin, I know you're there. Everybody check out Ambrin. Everybody say hi to Ambrin. Everybody be nice to Ambrin. But yeah, that's going to be coming up here soon. So that is something I'm going to have to head out to go work on. But I'm really excited to bring that to you guys. All right, guys. Thank you so much for the chat. I really appreciated this one. You guys were so sweet to me. I don't deserve you. I love your morals too. Yep, the podcast is the exciting new project for now. All right. Oh, thank you, Samuel. So sweet. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Love you. Bye. Drink your water. Later, nerds.